All right, so moving into this bridge here, like I just mentioned, I'm going to probably just do a simple surface for the road bed. And then I'm going to focus on the actual structure. So if you just kind of like look at it in terms of like trying to understand and look ahead for what we are probably going to need to do, we're going to need a pipe. I'm going to do probably just a pipe and simplify it, for a pipe rail on the sides, even though it's more, it looks like octagonal or something like that. We'll simplify that for now. The interior parts, I think I'm going to stick with a pipe as well. And then when it comes to the cabling, those are also going to be pipes. And so it's a lot of pipes for the actual structural elements, but in terms of breaking it down, you can see that you need to subdivide curves and stuff like that and find center lines and everything. So we'll kind of work it out that way, and you know, there's a lot of dynamic nature to this thing. So let's get started by actually creating the surface upon which we're going to work. So I'm going to do the road bed first. And the road bed, I think the way that I want to do this is to actually model the road bed just in Rhino. So if you think about developing this thing as it should be, right? Normally, one of the first things designed is where does the road have to be, and then you design the bridge to go around the road. Sometimes, so that's kind of what this is going to be for us. And so if you go to your front view, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a control point curve so that I have some flexibility with it, and I'm just going to do 3 control points. The first one is going to be at the origin, 0, 0, in the front view, 0, 0, 0. And then I'm going to make the second control point. I'm guessing that bridge's bays are maybe 75 feet. So I'll make it 75 feet. And hold shift to just make sure it's flat for now. And you'll notice that it's going to do this bowing thing. That's okay. Type in 75 feet again and hold shift so that it makes your third point exactly straight across. And then hit enter. Now the reason I did that is because now I can turn on my control points like this using this little button right here, points on, points off, and I can select that middle control point and I can pull it up. And you don't need to pull it up very much. You can leave it, very, very shallow. All I want you to be aware of and be able to see is that here, when you kind of zoom around, you see a little bit of a bend in it. And I know this image shows it relatively straight. I'm exaggerating any kind of curvature just for sake of argument, to make it a little bit more dynamic. And then escape and escape. So 2 escapes will get rid of your control points. And then go ahead and grab it up here and let's extrude it. And let's extrude it 30 feet. So I do quickly want to say that I am ballparking these numbers. So the proportions, we're not going to get it to look exactly like this. I'm just ballparking everything. So we're just going to get the essence of it and work from there. Okay, so I think probably one of the ways that we could begin working on this is to start with the arches. So if I focus on developing this arch to that connection and then back out to the corner connections at the end, that's going to be a good start. So let's start with that. The way that I think I'm going to develop that is to focus on establishing those points in space, and then I'm going to build off of the point. So basically, if I have, obviously, you know, we need the center point because the bridge actually converges on the center point. So we need the center point of the surface. And then we need the two endpoints on either side. And that's found simply by referencing the surface in. So I'll reference it here. Oh, sorry, that's an extrusion, so it needs to be a B-rep. And then you'll have to deconstruct B-rep and then do your analysis to find the center point. So I'm going to go to Surface, Analysis, Deconstruct B-rep. I'll plug that in here. So those are my four corner points. And then I'll do my area to find my center point. Also, something to be aware of is that when you're finding a centroid, if it's a arched surface like this, the centroid doesn't exactly exist on the surface. I want you to be well aware of that. The centroid does not exist on the surface. So if that's a problem, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a problem yet, just depends on how we develop our geometry. If that's a problem, then you probably want to subdivide the surface into two subdivisions in either direction, which will give you a cross in the center, and that'll give you a center point. Do you guys need to see that? Should I do that anyway, just to be cautious? Yeah? Okay, let's do that. All right, so let's assume that we already know that's going to be an issue. What I'll do is basically the same kind of subdivision we typically do. So domain, divide domain squared. And we're going to need a surface utility isotrim. We're going to take this B-rep. We're going to divide it. But instead of 10 subdivisions, we're only going to have 2. So I'll grab a param panel, make it 2, plug that into U and V, which gives you a center point. Now, you now need to deconstruct it and then select that particular corner. That's the hard part, because right now we have 4 panels. We have 4 panels, each of which has 4 corners. So when I deconstruct this, deconstruct that, I need to make sure that I'm not selecting from all 4 panels at once. So be aware of that. The vertices, if I do my list item, and I do a slider from 0 to 3, and I plug my vertices in, notice how right now it's selecting 1, 2, 3, 4 points. I don't want that. I want to select one particular face. Oh, that's weird. It gave me all 4 faces. Oh, because that's grafted. So flatten this list and grab one particular face. See that? And then I want you to take that list item, do it again, and make sure that you grab... Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're going to have to deconstruct it yet again, actually. I know, it's like totally like duplicate layering and stuff like that, but sometimes you got to do this to find one particular item. There. Turn this off. So now that one exists on the corner, and if I move my list item, it moves to the midpoint, and then I move it once more, and it moves to the center point. So now you can see that center point actually exists exactly on the surface. Okay, so now you know how to do the isolation, specifically for the center point on the warped surface. And then we have these, and I'll pull this forward so they kind of match in their progression here. 4 corners. What questions do you have? All right. I will stop this video and we'll move forward.